So tonight, folks, we're doing the tax rebate program. It's a community information session to let everybody know about the North Penn School District tax rebate program. To start the night off, I'd like to introduce Jonathan Casa, who is a North Penn Board of School Director. So Mr. Casa, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gilmer, and those joining us this evening. This is an innovative program that just in the last year has been replicated in 9 other school districts that we're aware of across Pennsylvania, as far as Western Pennsylvania. And what we want to do at North Penn with continuous improvement is make sure that we expand this program. And what we typically would do is have coffee, some donuts, community meetings, been to township meetings, clubhouses, even just meeting people on the street and being able to have a conversation about how tax rebates can be given to those seniors who qualify in our community to make a difference in their lives to hopefully offset the increase in local property taxes. And one of the things that we've really appreciated as a school board is going to people's doorsteps and handing them their checks. It's sad that this year we weren't able to do that with COVID. Our community has many challenges due to the pandemic. But over the last few years, we've expanded this program year after year, and we've expanded it as far as we could for this year as well. And tonight's agenda really covers all the details so that as many people as possible can take advantage of this program. It's our goal to have word of mouth and to promote this through as many channels as possible so that we have 100% participation from all the people who would qualify. This is a way that a school district that is sound fiscally and is creative when it comes down to trying to solve problems finds a way to strengthen our community and help those who could use it most, who've been paying taxes likely their entire lives in our school district. And this is our way of giving something back. So thank you, Mr. Skrocki. Thank you to the administration for being a part of this. And on behalf of my fellow board colleagues, welcome everyone to tonight's program.
Thank you, Mr. Casa. I'll take it over from here. My name is Steve Skrocki. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for North Penn School District. First and foremost, thank you so much for viewing our presentation about the tax rebate program. We greatly appreciate it, and hopefully you can walk away with some additional information and can apply for the program if you haven't done so. So we'll give you a broad overview of the program tonight and actually walk you through the application process, both at the state level and at the school district level. And at the end, we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. And we have a prize for you too, if you come up with an innovative idea, but we'll talk about that at the end. But first off, you might remember the Oprah Winfrey show from a couple of years ago. If you were in the audience, you were able to get a free car. Oprah was giving away free cars. So we're here tonight to talk about giving away rebates. And we want you to take advantage of the rebate program if you are eligible. Our goal is to make this as widely known as possible. So first, I'd like to talk about the Pennsylvania Property Tax and Rent Rebate Program, because our program really piggybacks on top of this statewide program. This program is administered by the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, and they receive proceeds from the lottery and slot gambling in Pennsylvania. That's what funds this program. The state program has a household income limit of $35,000, and we'll talk about how income is actually defined in a moment. And renters are also eligible. The income limit for renters is less, though. It's $15,000 for renters. To be eligible for the program, you need to meet one of the following 3 criteria. First, you need to be age 65 or older, a widow or widower age 50 or older, or if you are permanently disabled and over the age of 18, you are also eligible for the state program. So the state program has a maximum rebate of $650. However, they do have what's called a supplemental rebate for qualifying homeowners. So this is only for homeowners. Renters would not be eligible for these supplemental rebates. But basically, the supplemental rebate could actually boost the state rebate from $650 all the way up to $975. So it's an additional 50% of that base rebate amount. However, to qualify for the supplemental supplemental rebates, you need to have your taxes represent 15% or more of your household income in order to be eligible. So if somebody is paying a large amount of property tax relative to their household income, they could receive an additional 50% at the state level, all the way up to a rebate of $975. A couple other components of this statewide program. There's a sliding scale of a rebate based on the total income, and I'll show you that scale in a moment. But all income in the household is counted. So for example, if you have any capital gains or interest income or dividend income, or if you have a side job or own a business, that is income that is counted. Pension income is another area where that money is counted as well. However, if you do receive Social Security, only 1/2 of the Social Security income is counted towards your household income. And basically, in a nutshell, if you receive a rebate from the state, you may be eligible for a rebate from North Penn. It's really that simple. We are piggybacking off of the state rebate program. So in all likelihood, if you receive a rebate from the state, chances are you're eligible for a North Penn rebate as well. So let's look at that sliding scale for a moment. First off, it basically goes like this. The more money you make in your household income, the less you're eligible for in terms of a rebate. The less money you make, the greater the rebate. So the tiers are shown here. So between $0 and $8,000 in your household, you could be eligible for $650. And again, these are the base rebate amounts. If you're eligible for supplement, you can receive an additional 50% on top of this. Income between $8,000 and $15,000, you're eligible for a $500 rebate. $15,000 to $18,000 in income, you're eligible for a $300 rebate. And from $18,000 to $35,000, you're eligible for a $250 rebate. For renters, there's only 2 tiers for renters, but it's the same $0 to $8,000. It's the same $650 as it was for the property owners. And between $8,000 and $15,000, it's a $500 rebate. And once again, the renters are not eligible for any supplements. These would be the maximum amounts you could receive if you are a renter. So let's talk a little bit about the North Penn program as it exists in the 2021 fiscal year. This is the fiscal year that we're in now. Our fiscal year started in July and ends June 30 in 2021. So I mentioned before that our program piggybacks off of the existing state program. So a lot of the same parameters apply for the state program as they do for the North Penn program. And there's really 3 different tiers of individuals that could be eligible for the rebate. First, we have renters. Second, we have property owners. But a third group is rather interesting. It's what we refer to as a hybrid property owner. And the way a hybrid owner works is simply this. Many times, individuals might rent the land, but then own the structure on the land. So for example, someone might have a manufactured home or a mobile home where they own the home, they own that portion, they own the structure, but they don't own the physical land that the home sits upon. You might pay rent to a landlord in that particular situation. So one example of a hybrid area would be Neshaminy Falls in North Penn School District, if you're familiar with that development. Those individuals there do pay rent to a landlord, but then they own the home that sits on top of the land. So that classification of applicant would be considered a hybrid owner. So all 3 groups are eligible not only for a state rebate, but for a North Penn rebate. So we have a 1-page application that I'll walk you through in a couple moments, and just a couple pieces of documentation that is submitted to the district for the application process before we can submit a rebate check to you. So our rebate check for this year is 50% of the state amount, and that does include supplements. So if you receive, for example, a $650 rebate plus the supplement, that would make a $975 rebate at the state. You could receive a rebate from North Penn of $487.50. That's a maximum rebate that we would issue. If you receive a $500 rebate, as an example, our rebate would be $250. A couple stipulations with that, however. First, the rebate cannot exceed 100% of your property taxes that are paid. So what I mean by that is you pay property taxes to the county, to your municipality, and also to North Penn School District. So for example, if your total real estate taxes are paid and total $700, you cannot receive a rebate in excess of $700. And that counts not only the North Penn rebate, but the state rebate as well. So this program was not meant to be a windfall program. It's meant to supplement and reimburse you for real estate taxes that were paid, nothing in excess of the total amount that was paid. Now, for renters, the maximum amount is a little bit different. Renters aren't paying property taxes directly, they're paying rent to a landlord. And the state caps out the maximum amount of rebate at 20% of the rent paid. So for example, if your rent is $1,000 for the year, the maximum rebate between the state and the school district would be $200. If your rent is $10,000, the maximum rebate between the state and North Penn would be $2,000. So those are the maximums for property owners, hybrid, and renters. And our rebate, a $487.50 rebate, is a really nice amount. So let's talk about the application process that's involved here. So 2 applications have to be submitted, one to the state and one to North Penn. For the state rebate, the deadline is typically June 30th of each year. But fortunately, if you have not applied yet, you are still eligible because the state did extend the deadline to the end of the calendar year. December 31st is now the deadline to apply for the state rebate. So once you apply for the state rebate and receive the state rebate, now you are possibly eligible for the North Penn rebate. So what we need you to do once you receive that state rebate is to complete a North Penn application, and our deadline is June 30 of 2021. Once you submit the application, if you're eligible, just basically sit back and wait and receive a check. Our turnaround time is about 14 calendar days once we receive an application that has all the necessary information. So really quick turnaround time. So let's talk in a little bit more detail about the application process at the state level. Again, a reminder that if you haven't submitted the application, it is due December 31st. If you've already submitted the application and received a rebate check, we'll talk about the North Penn application in a second. So the state has a rebate application form. It's called the PA 1000 form. You need to complete that 2-page document. I'll show you what that looks like on the next slide. One thing to keep in mind that even though we're in the year 2020, the application asks for 2019 income and also 2019 real estate taxes or rent that was paid. So the rebates in essence are always 1 year in arrears. 2019 information, rebate comes in 2020. So the state does ask for a couple pieces of documentation. In the 2-page application, they ask for your income information, but they will ask for specific documentation you need to send in with the application. They will want to see receipt of your property taxes that were paid. Or if you're a renter, they're going to want to see a rental application submission signed by the landlord. So that provides the state documentation that you indeed paid the real estate taxes or paid the rent that you're claiming on your PA 1000 form. So let's take a look at what that form actually looks like. What's showing on your screen now is page 1 of the 2-page form. It's the top section. They ask for your social security number, name, address, spouse's name, your birth date, and telephone number to contact if there's any questions. And then you see sort of at the bottom of this slide, you'll see section 2 of this application is income information. That's where they ask for various forms of your income. And they start with Social Security, and that's when you divide your total Social Security by 2 for the calculations. On the second page, this application asks for your property tax information. So if you're a property owner, you fill out section 14 and 15. If you're a renter, you fill out sections 16, 17, and 18. You'll note on line 17, you multiply your total rent paid for calendar year 2019, you multiply that by 20%. So again, that's where that 20% maximum comes in on line 17. And if you're a hybrid, you're an owner and a renter, that's the hybrid group we talked about before, you can complete line 19. Finally, then the state asks you how you want to be paid. You can actually have your state rebate sent to you via a regular check, or you can fill out your bank account information and they will submit the money to you via direct deposit. Sort of like the federal government makes your Social Security payment to you via direct deposit, you can have the state rebate check issued to you in the same manner. But that's your choice. It's really one of two methods, direct deposit or an actual check. And then down below the bottom of page 2 is your signature, or if you had your form prepared by a tax preparer or had any assistance, the form asks for another signature of the person that assisted you with this form. So that's the state form. Let's talk about the North Penn application now. Our application for the North Penn rebate is 1 page, but we do also ask for 2 pieces of additional information. We ask for a copy of the PA 1000 form. That's the state application form we just reviewed, that 2-page form. We need a copy of that. If for some reason you don't have a copy, you can reach out to your local legislative office. They will be able to assist you in obtaining a certified copy from the Department of Revenue. Or if you prefer, you can just simply contact the Department of Revenue and they will provide a certified copy of your application. So if you haven't submitted your application yet, I just encourage you to make sure you make a photocopy of the PA 1000 form, since we will need that form. Also, we just need proof of your state rebate. We don't need any federal income information in terms of like a W-2 or your state or your federal tax return, your 1099 or a 1060. We don't need any of that information. We just need proof of your state rebate. So how can you give us that proof? Well, we will accept a copy of a check that the state sent to you. We will take a copy of your bank statement. Keep in mind that we don't need to see any identifying information with respect to your bank account number, so you can black out that information. We don't need to see any other transactions on your bank account. The only thing we need to see is your name and the date that the state rebate posted to your account. It's pretty evident when the direct deposit goes into your account, it clearly shows that it's from the Department of Revenue. So a copy of your bank statement for that month, redacted so we can't see any account information, would be a second means. A third way of providing proof that you received the state rebate is through the Department of Revenue. They have a website and you can actually go in to a link there. It's basically entitled, "Where's My Rebate?" If you do a search on the internet that says Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, "Where's My Rebate?" you will go to that site where you put in your Social Security number and your birth date, and it will give you a printout or a receipt showing that you received the state rebate. We will take a copy of that as well. So there's 3 methodologies by which you can provide proof that you received a state rebate. Just to summarize again, a copy of the check, copy of your bank statement, or a printout from the Where's My Rebate website that shows that you received a rebate for that particular year. Okay, so let's take a look at our actual application form, our 1-page form. So we have Part A, Part B, and Part C. Part C has 3 components to it, but let's start with Part A. Part A asks for your personal information, your name, address, phone number. Really important to also include your parcel number. That's found on your real estate tax bill. If you're a renter, you can simply put NA, not applicable in that section. We're also asking for your birth date and Social Security number. The reason we ask for that is if you fail to provide proof that you received a rebate from the state with your birth date and Social Security number, we can go into that Where's My Rebate webpage and actually print out a receipt right there if you happen to forget. So instead of sending the form back to you to complete that information or provide that receipt, we can obtain the information on the website just as easily as you can, and that will be sufficient proof. So once we get into Part B is asking for your income information that is listed on line 13 of the state application. Then we move on to Part C. There's 3 parts to Part C. Part 1, 2, and 3, or subsection 1, 2, and 3. The first subsection is for property owners. So if you're a property owner, you complete this section. And here we're basically asking for your taxes that were paid, the same number that appears on line 14 on your Pennsylvania rebate application form. And then we ask you to multiply the information by 50%, and we need to make sure that you're not exceeding your total taxes. The maximum we can give out, once again, is $487.50. So if we would be exceeding your taxes, we would have to lower your rebate amount. We wouldn't be able to give you the full 50%. We would have to lower the rebate amount to reach the total of 100% of your total real estate taxes. Subsection 2 is for renters. We're asking for, again, just information that appears on line 17 and 18 of your rent rebate. And subsection 3 is for that hybrid group. Complete that section. Finally, Part D is really a checklist, just to verify that you provided us a copy of your PA 1000 form and also proof of your state rebate. And just like the state rebate application, we ask for your signed and dated form. And we ask if you use the services of a tax preparer or any other assistance, we ask for their name and signature and phone number as well. So that's basically it. If you have all the information ready, if you have a copy of your state form, if you have a copy that can prove that you received the state rebate, this application literally will take you 10 minutes to complete. 10 minutes to complete. So you might be asking, well, I've never filled out this application. How in the world can I obtain an application? So let's talk about the various ways you can obtain an application. First, you can receive an application by stopping in the district administration offices. We are located at 401 East Hancock Street in Lansdale. So 2 ways once you arrive at the office. You can walk into our building Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and we have a reception area. One of our receptionists will be happy to give you a form. Or if you come during off hours, off business hours, 24/7, you can obtain a form because we have a box that is adhered to our front entrance at the administration offices. And it's clearly labeled tax rebate application forms. You can simply open up the box, it's not locked, and retrieve a form. We always keep that box stocked with blank applications. So feel free to pick one up from the box. Even if it's during business hours, you don't need to walk in. You can just grab an application from the box. Another way to receive an application is to go to our website, www.npenn.org/tax rebate. You can download a rebate form in PDF format on the website. Another methodology to obtain a form is through our local legislative offices. Feel free to stop in, whoever your representative is. We have worked closely with our local representatives, and we make sure that they are also stocked with rebate forms. And finally, you can receive a form from the Peak Center in Lansdale. And the Peak Center has always been very, very kind in helping to promote the program and also providing assistance in completing the application should you need assistance. So on that subject of assistance, I just mentioned the Peak Center. The Peak Center does provide free assistance in completing the form, as does the legislative office. So if you need an application, if you stop into one of those offices, not only can you get an application, you can receive assistance. We also see many tax preparers complete this application form for individuals. So many times when the tax preparer is completing the federal tax return, they go right ahead and complete the state return. They also can start the process then for the North Penn application as well. Now, North Penn School District, we are willing to answer any specific questions you have about the application form, but unfortunately, we don't have staff dedicated in terms of assistance to prepare the North Penn application form. So again, we can answer any questions you might have, but we will not be able to provide direct assistance in preparing that application. So please either complete the application yourself, or if you need assistance, look to the legislative offices a tax preparer or through the Peak Center. So next, I'd like to talk a little bit about the history of the program and some of the results of the program, because we are just so thankful from administration that our school board has started the program and has actually built upon the program and increased the program each year. We are in the third year of our program right now, and we are at a nice reimbursement level of 50%. But let's go back to 2018-19, the inception year of the program. That first year, only property owners were permitted to receive a rebate. Renters were not eligible, and supplements were not considered. So it was a flat 25% of the rebate that the individual received from the state was the guideline for the first year of our program. And we did have 453 applications that first year. Pretty good number for the first year as word spread, but it still represented about 30% of the total number of individuals that were eligible. And as Mr. Casa mentioned at the beginning of the program tonight, we really want to strive to get everyone that's eligible for that state rebate. If you receive that state rebate, we want you to receive a North Penn rebate. Our goal is 100% of those that receive the state rebate receive a North Penn rebate. So we're pretty far away from that goal, but we're going to keep continuing to try to reach that goal in the future. Also, that first year, our total rebates issued were about $37,750, and the average rebate was about $82 per individual. In 2019-20, the program expanded from 25% to 30%, but also importantly, in that second year, renters became eligible to receive a rebate for the first time. So we had homeowners and renters and hybrid group in that second year, and we saw our applicants increase to 570, and our total rebates increased to over $60,000. And also that average rebate increased to $108. And again, in our current year, we have a 50% rebate level. So far through the beginning of October, we've already had 296 applications. So I'm certain we will surpass 600 this year based on where we're at right now. Total rebates already year to date from July through the beginning of October has already exceeded the entire amount that we had from last year. We're at $63,224. And the average rebate is also increased pretty nicely to $220 is the average household rebate. And that is primarily due to the fact that not only did we increase the rebate percent to 50%, but supplements now are included as part of the equation. So one of the things that we've done over the past couple of years to try to promote this program is reaching out to our local legislative offices, because many people do go in and already receive assistance with that state rebate application. We've also done a number of press releases. We've had a number of excellent newspaper articles. We've reached out to local tax preparers. And tonight with this community meeting, we're hoping to further spread the word about the program. And I mentioned at the beginning, we have a little contest, a little prize, and that with the generosity of one of our school board members, Mrs. Ramich, she is going to actually talk about one of the prizes that we have available if you can help participate in spreading the word about the program. So Mrs. Ramich, I'll turn it over to you to talk about that little prize that you have for individuals that are viewing this program tonight.
Great, and thank you so much for a wonderful presentation this evening. And I appreciate those who are tuning in. In the years past, we would be going out to community events. We would be talking to people. We've even hand-delivered the rebate checks by knocking on our neighbors' doors. So those personal interactions we just can't do right now because of the global pandemic. But yet we know that word of mouth and sharing that information and sharing those updates is critical for us being able to get the word out and for the success of this program. We are expecting, now that we're in year 3, that our applications will increase year over year. But knowing the situation that we're in right now with the downturn in the economy, we really are hoping to increase the awareness of the program. So some of our favorite events, we're getting together in community centers and meeting over coffee and breakfast and exchanging ideas and talking about this program. So if you have ideas for us on how we can help spread the word and get that message out, this rebate program does exist. It's such a great program. I just kindly ask that you email me. And instead of us being able to sit down and have coffee, I will be sending you a gift card to Panera so that you can go and grab your own coffee there. I know that it's a favorite of Mr. Skrocki. So if anybody is interested, if you have ideas on how we can get the word out in addition and above these things that we've already done, we would really welcome those ideas, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
That's awesome. Thanks so much. So please take Mrs. Ramich up on this deal. Her email address appears on the screen now, and we're open to any ideas that you have. But I just want to point out again, we talk about our school board going the extra mile. Prior to the pandemic, with the hand delivery of those checks, that was just absolutely amazing, an amazing approach by our school board. And people were really blown away by that personal touch that the board was able to provide. So let's, maybe we'll return to that someday. We're hopeful that's the case. But a couple other things I just want to share. We talked about some of our prior community meetings. Here's a picture from a community meeting back in 2019. We have Mr. Casa, Mr. Fusco, and Mrs. Stoll from our school board that were at this particular meeting in the Chamonix Falls. So our board is committed to getting the word out. There's another picture of Mrs. Stoll talking about the rebate program. So whatever you can do to help would be very, very much appreciated. Our goal is that 100% level. That's where we want to be. So with that, that concludes my remarks tonight. So I think I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Gilmer for now to see if we have any questions that came in through Zoom or Facebook or YouTube. Mr. Gilmer?
Sure. Absolutely. So we do have a question. This is a good one from Jade Van Gilder. She wanted to know, should we apply right now, or do you include it after your 2020 tax filing? Is this a 2020 right now filing, or should they file after their 2020 tax filing?
Okay, so great question. Thank you for delivering that question. So to apply now, this would be for the 2019 taxes that were paid. Okay, so you still have time to submit your state rebate. You still have time to submit your North Penn rebate. For the 2020 taxes, for the taxes that you're paying in this calendar year, you actually can't apply yet. You can't apply yet. Our board authorizes the North Penn rebate program on an annual basis. So we'll be having conversations in the spring about the program that will start in July of 2021. So starting in July of 2021, you can submit an application for taxes paid in 2020. So again, keep in mind that everything is a year in arrears. If you haven't submitted your North Penn rebate yet, you still have time for the 2019 taxes. But for the 2020 taxes, unfortunately, you have to wait until 2021 to submit that application. I hope that answers your question, Jade.
I'll ask this question. Can you go back to 2018, or is it once that is closed, could I go back and look at 2018?
That's another great question. Unfortunately, the 2018 year now has closed. We do the program on a year-to-year basis. So the 2018 taxes would have been part of our 2019 rebate program, which ended June 30th of this year, of 2020. So you can't go back to 2018 any longer at this point. That program is now closed.
Got it. And since we're watching all of the different areas at the same time, I'm going to answer Jade's question. She said, so I turn in the application right now for 2019, and the answer is yes.
2019 is yes.
Do it now. Okay, so if there are any other questions, if you're watching us on Facebook, go ahead and you can type it in there. We don't actually have any extra people here in the attendees in our Zoom, so I'm really kind of monitoring our social media right now for questions. But of course, if you want to go back another slide, Mr. Skrocki, and we're going to throw up there Mrs. Ramich's, a couple slides, sorry, the email address for that gift card. If you have great ideas on how to share this information out with your neighbors to make sure everybody that can take advantage of this does, make sure you email Ramich JD there at npenn.org. Mrs. Ramich, would we take any good comments that are on our Facebook page underneath this? If you saw something there, does that include in our?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I was trying to pull up our social media feed to see if any had come in. So
very good. So if anybody does watch this on the repeat after this live session is over, obviously feel free to email Ms. Ramich here at her email address, as well as leaving any suggestions there underneath our Facebook post, underneath the comments, and we'll make sure Mrs. Ramage gets that. And of course, she has social media. She'll see them. She'll see those as well.
And Mr. Gilmer,
Yes.
we could also make clear to the audience that this will be posted soon on the North Penn website. So the YouTube embed will be there for, or a link for residents to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. So our replays will be on North Penn Television. We'll probably be running this one just with the number of questions that we're getting in here. So we'll probably run this one back on North Penn Television. It's Comcast Cable Channel 28 and Verizon Channel 29. You can watch the channel itself to see when those dates are. And as soon as this session is over, this will be available on YouTube right away. And you can click on this link and watch this again. And the same for Facebook. I think it takes a couple more minutes to process, but it will be there a little bit later tonight after we're done this session. So all of these pieces are available in all those areas, as well as the tax rebate page on the school district website at npenn.org. We'll have that information underneath there. So there's a clarifying question. And Diane, I'm going to take a shot at your name here. So I apologize when I mess this up. But Diane, it's Diane D. Domencius Sonetto. I think I got it. She wants to know, do Social Security and pensions count toward the maximum income? So we can clarify Social Security and pensions counting toward the maximum income, Mr. Skrocki.
Diane, great question. So Social Security counts 1/2. Okay, so if you have $20,000 a year, for example, in Social Security, only $10,000 will be counted as your income. However, pension income counts 100%. So if you have, let's say, $10,000 a year in pension income, the full $10,000 would count. So the only area where you get a reduction in what you actually bring in for the household income is in Social Security. Only 1/2 of Social Security is counted. Everything else is counted fully.
Okay, very good. I'm not quite sure of the delay here on Facebook of how quickly. Oh, that's Mrs. Ramage said, great question. So I'm not sure how long ago you sent that in there, Julianne, just to get a sense of our delay on from our live broadcast here to when I see it up here on Facebook.
I just hit it, so I think it's pretty simultaneous.
Pretty good.
I don't think there's much delay. Yeah.
Very good.
And Mr. Gilmer, if I could, I just want to thank the school board again for being able to support this program for the community, because between the state rebate and the North Penn rebate, you'd be amazed how many people have had 100% of their real estate taxes refunded to them. So that's the county tax, the municipal tax, and the school district tax. 100% of their taxes refunded through the state program and the North Penn program. And that's really remarkable. That's quite a service to the community, especially those that have the greatest need in the community. And that was really the intent of the program from day one. You know, the question that was asked a couple of years ago is, how can the school board deliver some level of property tax relief to the community, because the state has been unable to deliver any kind of property tax relief. So we can't change things at the state level, but we examined a program and recommended a program to our school board that could change things at the local level. And we're really seeing the results of it when people have 100% of their taxes refunded. And our school board actually receives thank you letters. I mean, can you believe that? A thank you letter coming in from residents saying, hey, you can't believe how much this means to me, whether it's $50 or $100 or $150. We've had comments that, you know, this was a decision between food or prescriptions. And now with the rebate, I'm able to do both. So you can't diminish the fact that even a small amount goes a long way for those that are in the greatest need in our community. So thank you again to our school board for supporting this program.
All right, Mr. Skrocki, because you wouldn't say it for yourself, and I didn't say this in the earlier broadcast, but I would point out that we have a great debt of gratitude, a deep well of gratitude for you and the administration, the business office, as efficient as you run this process, but for being creative and entrepreneurial zeal. Every year we've added something new to what we're able to deliver for the community. And that resulted, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was last year that you, yourself, your office, the school district received a statewide award for this program in recognition.
That's correct. Yeah, we were really pleased because we felt that was a victory for the community to receive that recognition. It was an award through the Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officials. They have an award called the Award of Achievement, and that's for innovative ideas that are developed and implemented in the school district. So we were fortunate enough to receive that recognition last year. And the nice thing about that, besides the recognition, was we received a $3,000 scholarship check that we distributed to actually 3 of our graduating seniors back in 2019. We had 3 seniors receive checks totaling $1,000 each. So that was the best part of that recognition, that our students were able to receive a benefit as well.
So I don't see any new questions popping up here on Facebook. I think before we wrap up for the night, and I'll keep an eye on this comment thread here to make sure I don't miss any. But real quick, do you want to give like the deadline 2019 deadlines of when that needs to be in, where you can find the forms? Give us a quick rundown of those for our viewers.
So the 2019 taxes that were paid, you have a deadline of December 31st to submit your rebate application to the state. Okay, so December 31st, get your rebate application in for taxes paid last year. For the school district application, once you receive the state rebate, you have until June 30th of 2021 to submit your rebate application to North Penn. So how do you get your rebate form? Local legislative office is a great place. The Peak Center in Lansdale or off of the North Penn website, or call the school district offices, the administrative offices. Call me, Steve Skrocki, 215-853-1010, 215-853-1010. We'll be happy to send you an application as well. And keep in mind, while we can't provide direct assistance with the application, there are many resources available in the community to have assistance with that one-page North Penn application form. It goes back to local legislative offices, tax preparers, and the Peak Center would be our recommendations.
Okay, there are no new questions coming in. I just ask if there's any final thoughts, Mrs. Ramich, Mr. Casa, that you have for tonight.
No, just thank you all so much for putting together this presentation, and thank you to everyone who's tuning in.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Bob and Steve and team, for making sure right during pandemic, we continue to innovate and find ways to get this message out. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good.
Everyone.
Yep. So again, if we go to the school district website, npenn.org, if you go to npenn.org/tax rebate, you can find all the information on this program and the appropriate forms there. These 2 broadcasts that we did today, one earlier at 11 o'clock and this 6 p.m. one here, are both available on Facebook and YouTube, the North Penn School District Facebook page and the YouTube channel, NPTV, as well as the North Penn cable television channel, Verizon Cable Channel 29, Comcast Cable Channel 28. That's all we have for tonight. We do appreciate everybody tuning in live with us to learn more about our tax rebate program. If you have any questions, of course, hit the website and you should be able to find all the information you need there. And of course, as Mr. Skrocki said, give us a call at the ESC, 215-368-0400 if you have any additional questions. So if that's it for tonight, I thank everybody for joining us. I hope everybody has a safe and happy evening.